What's up, y'all? What's happening? Welcome back to Political Soul Food. It's your boy Kasan. Here we go. Here we go. So as you can see, I'm up in the crib, protected by the books. I was gonna set up in Starbucks today, but I had to come back here, and I figured it'd be a nice change of environment for us now. I've been in Starbucks for a while. There are a few other places I want to hook up at, and I'll keep you posted on that. So, what are we doing tonight? Tonight, I want to talk about this article I was reading about 12 states that voted to approve nullifying the Electoral College. I'm sure you already know Hillary Clinton won the popular vote, and in fact, Democrats tend to win the popular vote all the time now. And so I want to talk about this article real fast because it's very important for us to understand the demography and the sociology of politics. All right, we definitely know policies are important, but we want to know who's who and where everyone is, along with how or to which side of the aisle people are voting. I want to holler at Ruler Fitz. Good to see you. It's been a minute, bro. Holler at my boy. So here's a quick intro break for y'all to chime in and spread the word. And then we're going to jump in and talk about the Electoral College. Do you think it should go? Do you think it should stay? Also, do you think Election Day should be a national holiday? And also whether or not it's going to make a difference. All right. So we'll be right back after this quick break. Okay, so what's good? What I wanted to chop it up on was this piece here by the Hill Reporter. So you can check out hillreporter.com. The name of the article is 12 states have voted to approve nullifying the Electoral College. What this is telling us that more and more people are are not happy about the recent results where President Trump wins with a minority of the popular vote. And obviously, this is not the first time. And people are kind of fed up because this means that certain states and certain people in the minority actually have more influence than the majority. And given that this is a democracy, a Republican democracy, albeit, people feel that the weight should be given to the majority. Now, obviously, there's the philosophical response to that, in which the majority is not always right. But in this case here, when we're talking about voting for a president under basic rules, we should have, many people argue, a system that allows for the majority vote, insofar the vote has been done properly, legally, and within the confines of reason, making a rational choice about who should be a president, and obviously not voting for some tyrant, then the majority's will should be acknowledged. And so, one of the things that's happening now, various people in different states in the United States are pissed. They're saying we want a president to be chosen by the majority. I believe that the majority of people who are saying this are liberals at this point. And I'm sure at some point in the past, conservatives, particularly slave owners, in fact, were holding that narrative. So let me just give a shout out to some people who are here. We got Dr. Marshall up in the house, JD Stokes up in the house on Instagram. So let me just go through some of the main points here. And so basically, in this article here, people are basically saying if we cannot get a bottom down solution, we'll do, a top bottom solution, we'll do a bottom up solution. And so states individually are actually voting to give their collective electoral votes to the person who wins the majority in the popular vote. Okay, and so just a reminder why this is happening. President Trump lost the popular vote with 62,979,636 votes to Hillary Clinton's 65,844,610 votes. But he still won because he beat her on the electoral votes, and that counts more. So what's happening? Certain states are choosing to create a popular vote paradigm, one at a time. The most recent state is Colorado. Okay, so I read a little bit here. Now, however, Colorado is on the verge of essentially eliminating the Electoral College in their state. The Colorado State Senate has just passed a bill that would award their presidential electoral votes to the winner of the country's popular vote. Do you like that? Thumbs up for that or thumbs down? So apparently, G.D. Stokes says, I don't see the problem with the Electoral College. The only problem I have with this is the areas in which you live because I'm in a Republican state. Okay. All right. So what's happening? So different states have chosen to give their electoral points to the winner of the popular vote. Here's some other states that have passed national popular vote bills: California, Connecticut, Hawaii, New Jersey, New York, Maryland, Washington, D.C., Illinois, Rhode Island, and Massachusetts, and Vermont. So these states here are basically blue states. So blue states are rising up saying, listen, we want to make a change. Let me just pause here and say something. I'm actually proud of these states. I'm actually proud of the people in these states. And, so whether or not we agree with, the removal of the Electoral College system, it's about time liberals begin to combat conservatism at the state level. One of the things that conservatives have done to maintain their hold was to use states' rights, to champion states' rights. So one of the ways Obamacare was subverted was by preventing it from becoming this robust single payer, and then forcing Obama to allow states to opt in or opt out. And that way, states could say, well, you know what, we choose not to opt in. And that weakens the whole bill, the healthcare law, because it works when everybody buys in, right? So what's happening is that liberal states are now chipping in at at the individual level, and what they're doing is accumulating points or votes for a measure that obviously some conservative states don't like. But if the states individually come together by passing their own bills, then they'll be able to override some of the conservative obstacles to getting the popular vote. And this can probably also be a strategy for making election day a national holiday by just passing laws that allow people to vote on election day. This is smart. This is sort of the pragmatic politics that liberals, Democrats need to tap into. We've been on the defensive for the most part. But I think things have turned around a little bit ever since Obama got in. I mean, Obama was very, very effective with pragmatic politics. Unfortunately, though, people think that that is some sort of, these incremental baby steps are just another way of saying someone is a moderate and not really trying to make real change, big change. But you cannot make big change without the points, without the political capital and backing. And so whenever people compared, Obama's initiative or presidency, let's say with Roosevelt, FDR, well, that's a bad comparison. First of all, I mean Roosevelt's, FDR's electoral victory was phenomenal, and his popular vote was amazing, and he was elected 4 times. So I mean he had enough time to conceive of an idea, to give birth to the idea, and raise the idea, and send the idea off to the next person. Right. So ever since then, presidents were not allowed to go past 2 terms. So the strategies for a president change. It has to change with that, knowing that you don't have that long game anymore. So how do you get in knowing that you're going to be out very quickly, right? So a president is in office for a much shorter time than many congressional men and women. All right, many congressional men and women are in office for an entire career. In fact, for maybe 2 or 3 careers, 2 or 3 lifetimes. So, this is important for liberals to at least begin to see as a means of political tactics, and to really act on this consistently. Now, while the politicians are doing this, it's important for voters to understand what's happening. And now, what's interesting is that voters are seeing the power that they have at the local level, at the state level, that they can actually effect change at the national level by pushing our states, our cities, and our states to make certain moves. And this is going across the board. So I think these 12 states now are, setting precedents that will encourage other states to build on. And so we're going to get like this collection of Legos until we get to the top, wherever the destination is. And in this case, is nullifying the electoral college. And so that's all good. I think that's good. Well, I'm biased in a sense that I think it's good that liberals are standing up and trying to dismantle one of the utilities that keeps conservatives in power. Okay, so conservatives, even though they're becoming a minority, they have a monopoly of the mechanisms of politics. So not only are they using legitimate frameworks, they're also using illegitimate frameworks like gerrymandering. So gerrymandering obviously was a big thing. Now, let's not forget, we have to address gerrymandering. One of the amazing things that's happening now, Obama teaming up with Eric Holder, his former attorney general, are now challenging gerrymandering throughout the entire country. So between these two initiatives, pushing for the removal of the electoral college and the dissolving of gerrymandering, and I should throw one more in there, making Election Day a national holiday, I think there's a promising future, on top of which we have the demographic revolution underway, which is something else I want to talk about And there's a book I'm going to recommend. I'm going to be talking a lot about a particular book in the upcoming weeks. I'm going to be inserting information from a particular book that I will share. In fact, it kind of goes along with this strategy to remove the popular vote. Now, one of the reasons why it's possible, as so let me get this. Let me pull this book up. It's in my Kindle app. And you may have heard of this book. Let me get the full title. Yeah, here we go. Um, where are you? I recommend this book. Put this in your library. You can get it as a Kindle book or you can get a print copy. I've been doing more Kindle books nowadays, so that way, if I want to refer to something, I just have my iPad here or whatever, and I just go into it. So I can't lug all these books everywhere I go. So many of the books I have behind me throughout the house are actually Kindle books as well. So let's go here. So this book is called Brown is the New White: How the Demographic Revolution Has Created a New American Majority. Steve Phillips. My dear friends, there is a new American majority, and it's here right now. The only problem is that the new American majority does not recognize itself. It's not really conscious. It was conscious for a short while during Obama's election campaign for the 2008 election, and it was a multicultural coalition that and maybe it still wasn't aware of itself. I don't think we were aware of each other and really appreciate each other. I think everybody was focusing on Obama for different reasons, and that showed later on when people began to say this group got more than me. Let me say this. One of the things that's really getting on my nerves now is when a black person says Obama did more for the LGBT community than he did for black folks. All right, and let's look at that comparison because you have black people who are members of the LG, you know, LGBTQ community. So it doesn't. So it just shows that there's no critical thinking, if anything, and that people are just looking at the issue only from their angle. So that for me, that's a piece of evidence that we weren't really appreciating that. Well, there's a big pie. All of us can eat from this pie, but in order to get the pie, we got to work together. So so that's why I don't think many of us were really aware of this new American majority. Had we been aware of that, I think those who were disenchanted with Hillary Clinton would have voted, understanding that it's more than Hillary Clinton. It was more than Obama. It was the consistent participation in politics to keep pushing the keep pushing the what can I say the platform to the left, slowly but surely. In other words, had we got Hillary Clinton inside office, we would have had a liberal Supreme Court or a more liberal Supreme Court, which would have outlasted not only Hillary's presidency, but many more after. We're not thinking long term in that sense. So JD Stokes says that's my big problem with black voters. They speak without validity. Yeah, and bro, I understand why sometimes, it's like, people, you're talking about people who deserve change, who really deserve, a snap of a finger kind of change. However, that's not the way it is. Reality check. You're on planet Earth. You're living this life right here in this country. You're choosing to stay here. So what are the effective means available to us to move forward? And how do we address our concerns within the arena that we're in? So that's the so unfortunately, while I do sympathize with them in a sense, but you're right, GD Stokes, it really gets to me because it undermines the collective energy that we ought to be tapping into. And so, but the good news is that by these individual states, from this article I was talking about, uh, pushing their state senators and House of Representatives to establish some kind of pathway to eliminate the electoral college is showing that people are beginning to unify by whether because of faith. I don't know what the motivation is. Well, I think it is the tired of Trump, but it has to be more than just anti-Trump. But in any case, what's happening is many people within different states are aiming for the same thing. So that is the silver lining, I think, that's happening. But I think once we tap into this collective, we are our brothers and sisters in politics, we will be able to do so much. Trump would be the last of his kind. I think we can really retire such presidents like Trump. But it's going to take us working together. And so I strongly recommend this book, Brown is the New White, because it's a quantitative analysis. So it's not just someone who's saying, I have a dream. It's not just someone saying, I'm hopeful that, one day we're going to, get better policies for women, for minorities. What the book is saying, we have the political means, but we don't know it. We're not motivated. And since we don't know it, we're not motivated to act on it. And since we're not motivated to act on it, we're letting it slide away. And so even though people talk about the browning of America and that there's going to be like more minorities, it doesn't matter. There still could be a minority rule over this country if we don't tap into our resources. So we have to tap into our resources. Dr. Marshall says that's why education is so important. Besides teaching the basics, civics, and basic politics need to be taught and explained. Absolutely, Dr. Marshall. Absolutely. So hopefully all of us here, we will branch out within our individual communities, among family, friends, peers, colleagues, to spread this information, right? And so that's what I would like to do here. And so I just wanted to bring this article up because this information is also motivational. We have to know what our advantages are, what trends are enacted right now, and that we can tap into. So, I mean, for the most part, before I let you go, folk, please keep in mind that you're not alone. Keep in mind that the Trump presidency is not indicative of the direction that America is going in. It's more of a hiccup. And so I definitely want you to keep that in mind. Now, if anybody want to call in, let's open this up for call in. And I think, let me see something here. So I got a question here. Okay. Oh, okay. This is not all right. It's a different question here. So the number is 202. I'm so proud to say this number because we are stepping our game up, folk. 202-505-0250. Right, and I picked that number so that it's easy to remember, and the area code is from DC to represent politics. All right, so 202-505-0250. You could text me some questions here. You could call in. All right, so call in time is now before we break out. So in the next few minutes, I'll just exhale. May I exhale a little bit more on this issue? In fact, let's take a peek here. So here's what's going on here. So the whole idea too is the new majority. So that's the big thing to take away. That there's a new majority, but this new majority consists of a collection of varying groups that obviously have different specific interests. However, what we share in common are those who have lumped our interests together and boiled it up. Something like, I'm going to show you what they've done to us, folk, so you can really see what I'm saying here. Okay, let's get my chirping chicken menu. We have a menu of different initiatives. They're not treated individually. It's boiled up like this and tossed away. That's why we're in this together. So we're gonna unravel this. So we got a call here from Georgia. Let's bring this call in, y'all. Hello.
Hey, Kassan?
Yes, this is Kassan. What's up, bro?
All right, not much, man. I just wanted to.
Is this GD Stokes?
This is GD Stokes.
Oh, brother, what's going on, man? How you doing?
All right, all right. I just wanted to make a couple basic comments about, this political landscape where we at now.
Yeah.
One, with Donald Trump, I think he is an anomaly. I don't think we'll ever have someone like him that would just step into the presidency with no experience politically. And what I'm trying to understand now is, why is he capturing the minds and the focus and the votes of these people who support him? Like, what is he bringing to the table that they like? That's what I'm trying to figure out right now. Because every time I get on a post or some type of Trump troll web page or whatever, it's like, keep America, make America great again. He's gonna build a wall. He's gonna create new jobs. He's gonna get us out of being a military that's not strong. I'm like, we got the strongest military in the world. Well, what are you talking about? We don't need a wall, because a wall is pretty much just kind of like how Berlin was. Why build a wall? I mean, it's just a divide, and from our ally. I mean, Mexico is our ally. They're our neighboring country.
Neighbors, right? Yeah, yeah.
So I mean, it's ridiculous when we have reports that came out with Homeland Security that stating that they didn't have an influx of people coming through the wall. I mean, the southern border. It was the northern border that had the illegals or undocumented immigrants coming through. So that's the point that I'm trying to figure out, because I find out either they're racist, they're bigoted, or they just don't have any, or they're millionaires, billionaires. Yes, his politics reflect those people.
Yeah.
But I mean, I don't get it. I have friends I went to college with that I was cool with, but since this Trump era has begun, they have totally pushed me away and pretty much drawn a line in the sand. Hey, you're a liberal, or you're not with us, so hey, I'm against you. And that's pretty much how Trump had his campaign. I looked at some of this stuff where he was telling people, punch him in the face, I'll bail you out, and he was, with all of this negativity, it was nothing but bringing people together. And I have yet to see on paper his actual, what do you call it? His, before you get into politics, you come up with what you're going to do for America.
His platform.
How you're going to do it.
His agenda. Yeah.
His agenda. I haven't yet to see it. He kept saying, I'm going to have the best people do this. I'm going to do this.
Right.
What have you done? How are you going to do these things?
Yeah, yeah.
Rachel Maddow put something, I think I sent it to you. Rachel Maddow put together a piece. He's the first president in U.S. history. And his modern era has been in office for a whole year, up to the point where she did this article, this news that never pushed any, he have not pushed one piece of paper through Congress or anything that will change America or help America. Like, what has he done? Nothing.
Yeah.
Obama's first day, they hate when I bring this up. I said the first day Obama got in office, first thing he did was the Ledbetter Act, which would bring, right, help females who was doing the same job, getting paid less money than their male counterparts.
Yeah.
First day in office, he did that.
I would say this, GD Stokes. So you brought up, you went to the crux of the matter.
Right.
I want to send you a link to this book review I did so you can check out the book. And I mentioned this book before, I think. It's called The
Mm-hmm.
Backlash: Right Wing Radicals, High Def Hucksters, and Paranoid Politics in the Age of Obama. It's
Mm-hmm.
by investigative journalist and a Pulitzer Prize winning journalist, Will Bunch. And this book,
I heard of Will Bunch.
yeah, this book
Yeah.
now was very important that this book was published in 2010, 2011. The reason why this book does two amazing things. One, it shows us why Trump is not. I mean, we may think of us as an anomaly, but he's a natural reaction to
Right.
Obama's emergence and to what Obama represent.
Right.
Okay, so Trump is sort of the Tea Party. I like to say they're sort of white blood cells for white America. The white blood
Mm-hmm.
cells come out to attack foreign things that's attacking the body.
Right.
And what Will Bunch shows in his book that there are people, those who voted for Trump, um, who were already frustrated for so many reasons. Some understandable reasons, but these reasons were also combined with a fear of African Americans and
Mm-hmm.
minorities, how they might see it infecting American culture,
Right.
impacting white privilege.
Right. And that's
Not
exactly what
and
DeVore was talking about.
right.
That little racist group, DeVore.
Mm-hmm. So
Yeah.
so the thing is that they are they are mad. They're pissed. Many are just pissed because
Mm-hmm.
they don't want to see African Americans or minorities or even women at a certain level, right? So
Right.
some, but now others are legitimately a little uncomfortable and afraid of this kind of change. And what does it mean for me? Um, but however, Trump is a natural reaction to this change. This is a backlash. It's a
Mm-hmm.
natural reaction to a shift that was already happening. Once we go back to 64 Voting Rights Act, 64 Civil Rights Act, 65 Voting Rights Act, and also the Immigration Act in 65,
Right.
those three
Lyndon was in office, wasn't he?
explosion, yes, yeah,
Right.
those, they were explosions that brought
Right.
down the bastion of white politics.
Right.
And once that explosion hit, we saw an
Mm-hmm.
exponential increase in in politics among
Right.
African Americans, among Latino Americans, among hyphenated Americans, and even women were making their headway. LGBT community. So
Right.
we're seeing sort
And
of the
education
fruit
was
of
in
that.
that also.
Who's that? In the
In
Immigration Act.
educate. Yeah,
Uh,
education
oh,
was in that
education. Oh
also.
yeah, education,
Right.
and then the whole Great Society bill. I mean, there's so many
Right.
things. The whole Great Society initiative platform that Lyndon Johnson pushed, affirmative
Mm-hmm.
action as well was a part of this. So we shouldn't be too surprised about. We shouldn't be too surprised as to why white America have responded this way. Nor should we be too surprised about Trump. But it's understandable to be surprised about Trump. But Will Bunch, I want to go back to the reason why I wanted to talk
Uh-huh.
about the publishing date. I said this book was published 2011. Don't you know near the end of this book, Will Bunch warns us that Donald Trump is the kind of guy that can emerge. Now, he thought
Mm.
that it would be something that would
Wow.
pass away.
Definitely send me that
I
that
sure
book
will.
again.
I sure will. He
Right.
basically traveled around the country to find out why people hate Obama. Now, it
Mm-hmm.
was now the easy way out would say, okay, Obama was black. Yes, that's for many of them. But there was a deeper thing. It was what Obama represented. It was who was behind Obama.
Mm-hmm.
And it was even worse. It was sad is that we didn't recognize that because
He was the perfect storm
yes, it was a
because
perfect
he
storm.
had a white mother.
Oh well, you can
Grew
put
up
it
in
like
Kansas.
right. Well, yeah, that too. And, I mean, with the civil rights movement, I mean, right, he was a perfect storm. He had that, but
Right.
really, what happened because he's still labeled as black. I mean, at the
Right.
end of the
Right. Of
day,
course.
he's black. You have guys like Adam Clayton Powell, even Du Bois was mixed, even X. You go back to Sally Hammonds. I mean, you have all kinds of characters who are mixed in certain ways. You're just
Right.
gonna be labeled as black. But what we really should also add into this calculus is the fact that the Civil Rights Act, the Civil Rights Movement, and the Black Power movement, which many see as one thing, as
Right.
one effort, enabled Obama, enabled us. Here's how. Look, check this out. In 1966, this is after the Voting Rights Act.
Right, right,
People are still discouraged because there was a huge backlash to the Voting Rights Act and the Civil Rights Act. In fact, people were getting stoned, lynched, burned immediately after, and people thought, "Hey, King, it's worse," and it was a backlash. It's
right.
so they couldn't believe it. Like we did all this fighting for just equal opportunity to participate, and now look what's happening to us. Sammy Davis Jr. was experiencing this as well, and he was in Overton, Florida, right before giving a performance. He told, I'm gonna get the audio and play this. He told his
Huh?
crowd. He said, "Listen," and I'm gonna paraphrase, but I'll show you the key words he said. He said, "Don't let nobody put you down." He says, we have opportunities now because of what happened. And the worst that we can do is not be ready to take advantage of the opportunities. And then he go on to say, to explain the kind of opportunities that have been created. He said, someone here, there could be some little boy here who's 5 years old,
Right.
who in 50 years could become president. Now, guess what? Obama was born in 1961.
Hmm.
You see how prophetic that was? It's crazy.
Right.
Obama was born 1961. That's 5
Right.
years. And that was 1966. In 50 years, that would have been actually 2016 now. But so
Right.
Obama actually was a little early. he, he
Right.
he
Right.
came out the womb a little early. He was like, let's get this party started.
Right.
So the reason I bring this up is to show that there is a great conversation that we need to tap into, and it's also that everybody's not going to like this conversation. So
Right.
Trump is and from that point of view, Trump is not an anomaly. He's a natural gut reaction because we saw the same thing after, let's say, when Lincoln in 1865, when slavery was ended, Lincoln was killed.
Right.
Not only that, oh my goodness, there's an amazing quotation.
That's one of my favorite eras
Yeah,
in, American history. Was that because they had the Dred Scott decision going on that time also?
yeah, that was
And,
that was a little early on. Yeah,
right.
about maybe like 18. What was it? 1847, I think, maybe, or
I think it
1847,
was.
18.
If I'm not mistaken, it was like 46, I believe. I think it's 47. I got to go back and check.
No, 18. What was? Let me check right now. 18. I think
I
it's
know it was Judge Taney Hill.
1857.
He made the landmark decision.
1857. Sorry, 1857.
1857. Okay.
Yeah, yeah. So let me bring out two quotes here. Here's one. One I remember. One I'm just going to reference right now. This because this is why the history, getting our history in American history, which is when I say American history, I'm talking about Black history and all that good stuff that is centered. Um, so just as I'm trying to show that Trump, I'm trying to make an argument that Trump is not an anomaly. That he's the kind of person we should expect. Check
Okay.
this out. When Lincoln gave a speech
Uh,
about the surrender, about Robert E. Lee's surrender,
okay.
his assassin, his would-be assassin, John Wilkes Booth, said, and I'm just gonna keep it raw right now. He said that means nigger citizenship. That is the last speech he will make.
Mm.
And shortly after, Lincoln was shot dead. After
Mm.
that, that's the backlash. It didn't stop there. In 1865, the KKK was incorporated.
Uh huh.
Not Andrew Johnson becomes president immediately, and he says um, that this is a country for white men, and for as long as I'm president, by God, this will be a government of white men. Now, can you imagine? That's the
Right.
backlash to a country saying, you know
Right.
what? We just killed nearly a million of ourselves, our brothers and sisters, to
Right.
enact, freedom, something that we declared was our, that's our legacy. Our legacy is democracy, life, liberty, and pursuit of happiness for everybody. We're going to show the world a new day. And this is the kind of
Now, was
reaction.
this before we were still considered one third of a man?
You mean three
African
fifths. You talking about
American.
the three fifths?
Right.
Right. So no, this is after the three fifths. The three fifths compromise. Well, the three fifth compromise basically was a ratio developed that, if I'm correct, like so out every five slaves count as three people, and that was for representative um, purposes. So basically, this
Dr.
is
Marshall's right.
so
That history is not taught in schools anymore.
yeah, yeah. Check out how crazy this.
Right.
Check out how crazy this is
Hmm.
when we get to the compromise.
Hmm.
So, so one thing we have to remember is that, and I'm not trying to say that everybody, the Federalists didn't have their slaves and everything, but check it out. So the northern states, pretty much, and the eastern states wanted to end slavery when they were drafting the Constitution. They wanted to end slavery,
Right.
at least stop it from growing and all that stuff. The South was like, no, we want to maintain our slaves. So the compromise was like, all right, you maintain your slaves in the South, but up here, we're not going to do that stuff. Now,
So they're more industrialized or
that
going to more industrialized, right?
that too. Now
Hmm.
check this out. Now, as a slave, the South says slaves don't count as people; they're property, right?
Right.
Now, how is it that the South going to want to say that the slaves are property, but then want to count the slaves as members of the population to get more people in the House of Representatives? To say that the larger your population, the more representatives you get.
Right.
It's the hypocrisy. The hypocrisy to say we're not going to count slaves as people when it comes to their humanity, but we count them as bodies so that we can have more political power. This is why the South had so much political power for such a long time.
Right.
They owned the House of Representatives because
Right.
basically everybody get two senators.
Right.
And this has been happening for such a long time, and that capital that developed is still now translating into politics, which is why this
Right.
conservatism has always held a strong grip on politics.
Hmm.
But anyway, so the backlash to us, moving out of slavery happened immediately after. The backlash to Lyndon Johnson, the Southern strategy, all this stuff. When Nixon came in and he started doing his thing, we should expect these backlashes. So the question was, it's not Trump individually. The question really was who's going to represent the backlash because it's coming. The good news though on this is that the backlashes are are weakening.
Democrats
Yeah,
or
the backlashes
or
are
liberal
weakening.
politics.
Right, because it took 100 years to come back over that first backlash, which was Jim Crow.
Right.
Jim Crow was
I was just
basically
about to say
yep.
that.
So it took about 100 years to dismantle the legal Jim Crow, but obviously the culture we can't transform people's mindsets and attitudes. That has to evolve. But there was another 50 years from the 64, 68 all the way down to 2008, and now that was almost 50 years. So we've come back with our move in half the amount of time, and then that's the election of Barack Obama, and now we're experiencing a backlash. We're
Right.
experiencing a backlash again, but I think that
Right.
we're going to overcome this backlash and within a decade, if not less.
And
And
and I pray that we do, because it's very important. When I saw the amount of women that was voted into Congress,
yes,
this election cycle, and then the diversity amongst them, it
absolutely.
was it was great. And then another question I want to ask is, how strong is his base? Like, because I'm in Georgia,
Hmm.
so Georgia is a Republican state, and Stacey Adams came very close into beating Kemp,
Hmm. Hmm.
which is
Brian
he's a
Kemp.
Trump Republican, but she came very close.
Mm.
But like, when are we going to get to the point where um, we're pretty much diverse enough to just defeat that base that Trump has? Because I look at him on TV, he has it's like a glaring view of people supporting him, and I'm in Georgia, so it's like more Republicans. Where's that base at? Like, is it that strong where he can go into the next election term or next election cycle and win? Like, is that base that strong?
Well,
That's what I'm trying to figure out. Because I see Republicans leaving the party or going against him. Like Mitt Romney was somebody that also was interesting. He pretty much went against the wall also.
Yeah.
And I just think that it's people are realizing that hey, they can't win off of these type of politics, and
Yeah.
they'll be out of office.
You know,
So
Ruler Fitz just said something that's really important. He says the hope was in the closeness of the races in Georgia and Florida. So we can see that these are places where there shouldn't have been a fight. We talking about Confederate
right,
states, right? That's
right,
one thing. So to see that closeness, but two,
mhm,
this one thing I say. I mean, people may agree or disagree, but when we ask the question, is Trump's base that strong? I can say one thing: they are that determined.
right.
So they are
And then they
fighting.
have the
They're
children
fighting
that's
as
involved also.
right. They're fighting for what they perceive as their birthright. Can you
Right,
imagine how hard any one of us would fight if someone was trying to come into our house and take our stuff, or do something to our kids or whatever? You
right,
know, that's how they are fighting. And so the thing is that liberals, you know, we're frustrated with America. It's like America is, there's a lot to fix here, and we need to change the system. So people tend to sit out, and they don't fight with the same amount of passion because they don't see it as their birthright.
right,
And so the energy that goes into it is not the same. It's less energy. Republicans, conservatives, more importantly, they're going to fight tooth and nail, and they're using every means necessary:
right,
gerrymandering, voter suppression,
right,
disinformation, teaming up with Russia. Come on,
right.
you know what I'm saying? So there's no shame in their game. They're fighting all out, and so while we do have the numbers now, we don't exactly have the willpower. And another thing is that, as long as I have to keep, talking to, African Americans to say, I had an African American say to me, why should I be fighting for Latino Americans? If that question is still on
All
their
the same, it's
minds,
crazy.
yes, I'm still dealing with that. And so, or the LGBT community, da da da. So we have to really, it's going to be tough, but we're going to have to forge this
Right,
consciousness that we're in this together. And not only
right,
that, if we just work together, we can make the kind of change you
right,
see, G.D. Stokes.
right,
So we got to do a lot on both sides. On obviously we got to confront the Republicans and stand our ground there, but we also have to encourage and inform
right.
our brothers and sisters
Well,
on the left.
one of the guys on the post, Rule of Fitz,
Yeah,
just
rule of
said
fits.
conservatives are not afraid to get their hands dirty to
Oh
achieve
no,
their goals.
oh
And
no.
that's something that I want to say is so true because Democrats traditionally are more laid back. Hey, look, I'm not going to step on your feet, don't step on mine. But these Republicans, like I told you, I had friends that went to college with me, high school with me, or whatever,
Mm-hmm.
are strong Trump Republicans who pretty much know that I'm liberal and I'm going against Trump pretty much um, cut me off. And it's okay. I'm talking about we was in like college alumni associations together,
Mm.
and it's okay once they found out that I was liberal or I was against Trump. But goes to say they don't believe in the same type of um, rule of thumb or um, politics, I guess, from a liberal standpoint, because we believe more of a, hey, everybody have the same opportunities. You can disagree with me. That's your right. I'm
Right.
not going to hinge on you not agreeing with me, but it's your right, and I respect those rights, and I respect your political
Persuasion,
choice.
yeah.
Right? So, yeah, I definitely. I'm just, I'm just trying to like galvanize us as people who are. I hate saying liberal, but for everyone, and
Right.
that's something President Obama did. He wanted to galvanize everyone,
Yeah.
America's diverse. It's not a white America. You
Right.
look at his rallies, and it's a consistent viewpoint on who's there, and it's not an America that I know America to be. Like I grew up in Rhode Island,
Mm-hmm.
which was a melting pot, and when I came to Georgia, I was kind of like hit in the face with this black white issue, and I was like, man, these are the early 1990s. Are you all still dealing? Like, I read about this, I heard about it, but I didn't actually believe it was still going on. But it is,
Mm.
and you look at the people that's out protesting against anyone who's against MAGA, and you can see, and they started early, like young kids with MAGA hats on and shirts, and I mean, it's ridiculous. Like, where do you change the minds of these people that people have a choice to make a political choice based on what they believe in? But if this is, all you heard was this is wrong, this is wrong, this is wrong, believe this way, you're going to believe that way.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of like in North Korea or whatever.
Right. Right. Well,
So
yeah. I mean, there's right now right now the ball is in our court. It's still in our court. I mean, we dropped it a few times, we fumbled, but um, we're gonna have to come together. We're gonna have
right,
to come together. And another thing is that one of the things that Republicans do well is they may know that they don't have the best president or their favorite president in, but they know how to work. These
right.
policies that Trump is pushing are not coming from his mastermind. He's not writing these tax bills. He's not writing
Not doing
these
anything
budget.
actually.
No, he's not right. Republicans still know how to push and push for their agenda, regardless of who's in office. And so with Democrats, was not even just Democrats, but people on the left, I should say, the problem is that if they don't find that right person, it's almost like this Messiah effect. Then they'll be willing to sit out and let the worst happen. And so we're gonna have to overcome that.
Right.
And so it's tough, but I sometimes I wonder, should Democrats really try to appeal to the far left, or should we try to expand the voter palette, so that way we can tap into people who haven't voted yet, because a large percentage of Americans don't vote, and almost 50% of us kind of set out of politics altogether. And so if
Right.
we can tap into that, I think there's a lot to do here. Listen, GD
Right.
Stokes, I'm going to call out some comments here, and I'm going to wrap it up. So I know y'all got to get to
All right,
sleep.
well, thank you for accepting my call, and when is the next time you're gonna be on?
We're gonna be on tomorrow. We're gonna be on tomorrow. Should be hopefully a little earlier, like around 9:30. I'm gonna try to aim for 9 o'clock. I teach in the evening, and so it takes me about an hour and a half to get back to the city,
Okay.
and then I, like setting up and everything takes a little time. But I'm definitely gonna try to keep it at 9 o'clock if I can. If not, it'll be like half hour early. But keep in
Okay.
mind to everybody that I'm also streaming on YouTube. So if anybody missed one of these conversations, you can just head over to YouTube, which is and it's the account is my same Instagram name, and then you should be able to catch whatever discussion you miss for whatever reason.
All right.
All right, bro.
Okay. All right. Well, definitely, send an alert out. I definitely try to catch.
Sure will. Sure will.
All right.
All right,
Thank you
man.
for the combo.
Thank you too. Thank you. Thanks for calling
All
in.
right.
All right. That was exciting. GD Stokes was our first caller on the Political Soul Food podcast, representing Georgia. Yeah, good talk, good talks, good chats. Listen, I just want to thank you all for tuning in once again and sharing your thoughts. Ruler Fitz here is dropping, as Joy DeGruy says, these bones told on us, basically a slap in the face to the history and lies in the American North. Absolutely. I got my DeGruy book around here somewhere. Oh, it's one of my pals over there. Yeah, I'm definitely feeling her. She yeah. So folks, listen, I'm gonna call it a night, and I just want to let you know. Thanks for tuning in. When you participate, you just give me more energy. When you chime in here, when I see you all, it just encourages me. It reminds me that I'm not alone. There are people out here who are trying to make a difference. And I'm sure we don't see eye to eye on every little thing, but I think our hearts are in the same place. We want a society that respects all human beings, and we want to get past all this nonsense, right? White supremacy and bigotry, xenophobia. That's old school. That's archaic. It's antediluvian. So we trying to get to the new school. So listen, for those of you who may want to know, I got a Patreon account, and it's for those who want to support the cause. Further, patreon.com/ my name, Kassan Henry. Check that out if you're interested in supporting in any way. But most important, coming on here is more than I can ask for. And even beyond that, you having conversations with other people. Maybe chiming in a conversation with someone could use, a book or a quote or a reference or encouragement or a fact check. Right? So if you do that, that's the best thing ever to do, because when you make this society better, you're making my life better. So that's how I see it. So thanks again for tuning in. I'll holler at y'all tomorrow, and we're going to go in on more political soul food. All right? IG, Dr. Marshall, Rule of Fish, JD Stokes, everyone else out here on Facebook and YouTube. Thanks a lot for sticking around this late night hour. Get some sleep. I won't say I can do the same thing. I might still be up, but I want you to get some sleep so you can tune in tomorrow. Peace out, IG. Thank you. Facebook, have a good night.